An agent reaches the right answer by taking a dangerous path. It reads the wrong file, calls the wrong tool, fixes the symptom, and still produces a final response that looks excellent in a simple grading spreadsheet. This is lesson 23 in Claude Code, Production AI Agents. We are designing evals for agentic workloads where the path matters as much as the final answer. Lesson 22 gave us the eval mindset. Now we make it agent specific. Tasks, traces, tool calls, assertions, and enough statistical discipline to avoid fooling ourselves. The core idea is this: agentic evals grade the path, not only the final answer. That means you need more than final answers. You need artifacts, traces, checks, and operating rules that let a team compare yesterday, today, and the next release. The visible artifact is the trajectory eval harness. It has 5 parts: golden tasks, trace capture, tool assertions, leakage checks, statistical readout. Those parts turn a fuzzy discussion into a concrete review conversation. This part of the visual map matters because it shows the actual moving pieces: trajectory, golden data set, trace analysis, determinism, statistical validity. If one of those pieces is invisible, the team will struggle to operate the workflow under pressure. Use this checklist before treating the workflow as ready: golden tasks, trace capture, tool assertions, leakage check, statistical readout. These are not decorative boxes. They are the operating questions that decide whether the agent can be trusted outside a demo. In practice, this example has 4 parts: label leakage, overfit prompts, missing tool checks, non-determinism traps, weak sample size. The point is to make the agent's work inspectable rather than asking everyone to trust a polished final answer. Score the design against this rubric: golden tasks, trace capture, tool assertions, leakage check, statistical readout. A weak score does not mean the idea is useless. It means the workflow needs stronger boundaries before it becomes production work. Day 2 is the real test for designing evals for agentic workloads. A new model version, tool version, policy update, or dataset change enters the workflow. The team should be able to compare the new run with the previous run, inspect the evidence, and decide whether the difference is improvement, regression, or noise. Without that comparison path, the agent may change faster than the organization can understand. Use this implementation checklist before expanding scope: trajectory, golden data set, trace analysis, determinism, statistical validity. Each item should produce a concrete artifact, not only a meeting note. If the artifact cannot be inspected later, it will not help during review, audit, or incident response. Block release when these risks appear: label leakage, overfit prompts, missing tool checks, non-determinism traps, weak sample size. A blocked release is useful information. It tells the team where the system needs stronger evidence, better calibration, narrower scope, or clearer ownership before it reaches production users. Before a leader approves wider rollout, answer 3 questions in plain language. What decision will this evidence support? Who owns the signal when it disagrees with human judgment? What happens if the signal is wrong during a real incident? These questions connect designing evals for agentic workloads to accountability instead of turning it into another dashboard or checklist that nobody trusts when pressure rises. A useful mental model is driving test, not parking result. It reminds us that measurement is only useful when the instrument is understood, maintained, and read in context. Otherwise, the dashboard can create confidence without control. Our worked example is a tool called Trace Eval for a remediation agent. In that workflow, the important pieces are trajectory, golden data set, trace analysis, determinism. The agent can still be creative, but the system around it must make the important behavior inspectable. The build sequence is simple. Define what good means, capture the evidence, run the check before release, store the result, review failures, improve the workflow, repeat. That loop is slower than a one-off prompt, but it is how agent systems become dependable. Use the readiness rubric, golden tasks, trace capture, tool assertions, leakage check, statistical readout. If a team cannot point to each part, the release is relying on hope. Hope is not an operating model. The common mistake is grading only the final answer when the agent used risky steps to get there. It feels efficient because it avoids upfront work. It becomes expensive when the agent regresses, drifts, or fails, and nobody can explain why. Let us recap Lesson 23. For designing evals for agentic workloads, define the signal, capture the path, review the evidence, and connect the result to a release decision. Quality should be visible before trust is requested. The lesson learned is this: agentic evals grade the path, not only the final answer. A production agent earns trust when quality, risk, and history are visible. Subscribe for Claude Code, Production AI Agents. The companion book is linked in the description. In Lesson 24, we look at LLM as judge seriously, where judges help, where they drift, and how to calibrate them.